Cinema lights are often very powerful, and sometimes you'll want to tone that down a bit. We've talked about diffusing the light, but what if you don't want to diffuse it? What if you want it to have the same light properties, the same temperature, hardness, and so forth, but just want it a little bit more dim? Well, you can always get a dimmer for the light if it doesn't have one. Dimmers are usually little boxes that you plug a light into that have a level control that allows you to adjust how much power gets to the light, which dims the light. But dimmers don't work for all types of lights. Alternatively, you could just use a scrim. A scrim is a metal mesh that only decreases the power of the light and leaves the light just as hard. Scrims come in two forms. You can put a circular scrim in the barn doors of a Fresnel light, and these come in a few different varieties. Single and double refer to the amount of light they reduce. Single scrims have one light reducing mesh, while doubles have two of those screens. Full and half refer to how much of the light area they cover. This can be helpful if you just wanted light to be reduced on one side, like just on the background or just on the subject or whatever. So a full double tells us that this scrim covers the entire light area, the full light area, and that it has two mesh screens and will reduce light more than a single would. A half single tells us that this scrim only covers half of the light area and only has a single light reducing screen. Scrims are also seen as a type of flag that you put in a C-stand in front of a light. Using this kind of scrim is a bit more expensive, but it's also a bit more flexible. In bright daylight, you can put a scrim over a subject, for example, rather than just in front of a light. You can see our gaffer used one of these here on this big light in the council scene. Now, this is one of the few times we use a scrim on the Assurance, and it's not something I use on every shoot, but it's still important to be aware of this little helpful tool.